Let's have a quick conversation about LLC, business loans, bad or fair FICO, fast approval. I mean, if you have this configuration, you have a LLC business, you're looking for a business loan, you have a fair or bad credit, and you want fast approval, this is the video that you want to pay attention to. And the thing here is that here is an overview I really want you to pay attention to. So when we talk about LLC, we're speaking about a specific type of business that lenders really pay attention to when it comes to lending. When it comes to business lending, okay? And LLC it's kind of popular right now because it doesn't matter if you are even a single member LLC, even if you are one person business, you can still qualify for an LLC business loan. And one thing I want to say here is that it doesn't matter. One thing that lenders pay attention to, it doesn't matter where you are organized, where you have formed your LLC. Lenders just know that LLCs are formed at the state level. So federal banking laws, federal lending regulations do not apply because an LLC, an S corporation, a C corporation is a state affair. So this is really important to remember, because if you are trying to say, if you want to get an LLC business loan, bad or fair credit, FICO, you want to look for a local lender first. First and foremost, look for a local lender. If you don't find a lender that really want to actually give you the cash, then you can start going for an out-of-state or online lender. This is really important, okay? By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. I really appreciate having you here. And in today's conversation, I want to quickly talk to you about how to get an LLC business loan, bad or fair credit. It doesn't matter if you are around 300, 400, 500, it doesn't matter. You can get fast approval, not a problem. Now, one thing that you need to do here is that you need to really you need to have the proper structure. You need to look around in your sector, in your specific sector, what kinds of profiles your rivals had, what kind of profiles lenders want in your specific sector. This is really important, okay? So you don't need to have an LLC to get a business loan though, but if you are looking for an LLC business loan, you need to have an LLC, and you need to have an LLC in good standing, boss. Good standing. I'm not saying you have to stand. I'm just saying you have to be in compliance with the state laws, and you actually need to get there is something called a certificate of good standing that you need to get from your state authorities that shows that, hey, listen, even though you have bad credit, even though you're looking for even though you have a fair credit, you are still in good terms with state authorities. Very critical. So one thing we have to talk about here is that if you are looking for an LLC business loan, bad or fair credit, and fast approval, you need to understand in this economy, a lot of lenders are kind of scared. I mean, they are scared like they really are looking for ways to actually find credit-worthy customers. Now, here you are with your fair or bad credit LLC, and you're looking for a business loan and you want fast approval. Now, this is totally possible. This configuration is not the most plausible one, but it is totally possible. And what you want to do here is that in this economy, you have to pay attention. Even the Wall Street Journal yesterday came out with an article that said, hey, listen, credit scores are more than important nowadays in this economy, because a lot of lenders, with all the banks closing, like you have 2 or 3 banks that are filing for bankruptcy. What's going on here is that a lot of lenders are trying to be more, let's say, more interested in borrowers' creditworthiness more than before. So when we talk about, the very first thing you want to do here is, if you are trying to get an LLC business loan, bad or fair credit, you want to check your credit score, and you want to pay attention to your business credit score. So you want to actually contact right now Dun & Bradstreet. If you haven't done so already, contact Dun & Bradstreet and have a clear idea where you stand. Okay, and hopefully you currently have a DUNS number. If you don't have a DUNS number, it's about time you created it. Okay, create a DUNS number right now so that you have a profile in Dun & Bradstreet. And then you want to do the same thing for Experian, and you want to do the same thing for Equifax. So this is kind of important. And again, it's not just us saying it. All the biggies in the industry, all the big personal finance newspapers, from Kiplinger to MarketWatch, to Bankrate, to NerdWallet, to Wallet Hub, they're telling you to actually check your credit score. Check your credit score first. And when you talk about credit scores, you want to check your personal credit score and you want to check your business credit score. But you want to start with the business credit score first, so you know where your LLC is at in terms of credit score. Is your LLC around 50? Is your LLC around 60 on the paydesk score that goes all the way to 100, and 80 being the acceptable range, the acceptable floor, if you will. So you want to check your credit score to make sure that you are good to go, okay? Boss, by the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about how to get an LLC business loan, bad or fair credit, fast approval. The next thing I want you to do here is to actually find, you need to zero in on the specific type of LLC loan that is the LLC business loan for bad or fair credit, fast approval. Okay, and when it comes to that, we have several types of loans. You have term loans, you have LLC lines of credit, you have LLC SBA loan, you have LLC invoice factoring, you have LLC term loan. So the FICO score is actually the FICO score depends on the specific type of LLC loan that you are looking for. So, for example, if you were to go with the term loan, the minimum credit score here is 580. If you were to go with a line of credit, the minimum credit score is 580. If you were to go with an SBA loan, there are times when they don't check credit for your SBA loan, but if they do check, it's around 600, 640. And you also have invoice factoring. The minimum credit score 500. If you have invoice factoring 500. If you have accounts receivable financing, it will probably, again, the minimum FICO score here is 500. Okay, so you can see that you have a constellation of a very good list of LLC business loans, bad or fair credit, fast approval. Because when we talk about invoice financing, you can be approved within a day. Oh yeah, definitely. Even we've seen people actually been approved within 4 hours. But again, this goes back to the relationship I'm trying to really let you have. This is important. So what are the advantages of an LLC term loan, business term loan? You have a lump sum loan that's payable over a set period, available at most financial institutions, and you have a flexible use. What about the line of credit? So here you have a revolving line of credit. Interest usually only charged on the money you spend, and this is reusable as you repay. What about for the SBA loan? What are the pros here? This is backed by the SBA, so increasing chances of approval. You have lower interest rates. You have longer repayment periods and several loan options. This is kind of important to really think about. And so what about invoice factoring? So this lets you sell outstanding invoices. This is really cool. And you have fast funding times. So this is really cool. And basically, now let's talk about the cons here, the disadvantages. So borrowing costs are often higher for startups for term loans. Personal guarantees typically required in some cases, and low credit score could lead to a loan denial or high interest rates. And for the line of credit, you might have, like for your LLC, higher rates and fees compared to other types of business loans. The draw period that limits spending timeline is also there for you to think about. The third thing I want you to do, boss, is that if you're trying to have an LLC business loan for a bad or fair credit, fast approval, I want you to really go to the drawing board, so to speak. I want you to take a piece of paper, and you and I will calculate how much you can afford to borrow. Because see, the thing here is that simply because you have a bad credit score or a fair credit score doesn't mean you're some kind of stupid. No, you are very smart. You know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So let's I want you to convince me. Talk to me, son. Talk to me, daughter. Explain to me what you can afford and how you got to that number. Because what's going to happen here is that I will be looking at your financials, for example, and I'll be looking at your income statement. I'll be looking at your cash flow statement to see if all of those numbers are consistent with you actually borrowing. This is one of those things you have to really pay attention to, that at some point, the kind of analysis I'm telling you right now, that's what lenders do anyway. Lenders do this all the time just to see whether or not you have some bandwidth in your budget to get another loan, or whether you are just like overextended. Okay. So, and one thing you want to do here is that how much you can afford, you can only plug it in your budget and see how it changes your budget. Is your budget for the better or for the worse? So those are things you really need to pay attention to. And so you also need to compare lenders. So if you're looking for an LLC business loan, bad or fair credit, you want to actually compare lenders and see what really works for you. Remember that when we talk about this type of loan, you can get it at any financial institution. You know, the funny thing is sometimes you get the people who have no idea. They're trying to scale the shit out of other people and say, listen, yeah, don't do this, don't do that, blah, 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 blah. No, compare lenders. And the thing is, you don't lose anything. Pre-qualify. Pre-qualify. See if your LLC can actually pre-qualify. This is kind of fine. So the bottom line here is that you need to actually get out there and make sure that you are actually pre-qualifying, see what's available, see your chances. It doesn't matter if your LLC has a bad or fair credit at the personal level and or business level. You want to see what you could qualify for. With so many, I would say so many entrepreneurs out there, LLC owners, you are going to find a lender who understands who you are. You are going to find a lender who understands how to help you no matter what. The next thing I want you to do, boss, is to gather necessary documents for your LLC. Okay. And remember that you are looking for an LLC business loan with bad credit, bad or fair credit, fast approval. Okay. So you need to actually provide the right set of business documents. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're still having a conversation about LLC business loans, bad or fair credit, fast approval. And one thing I want to say here is that, it's really important to understand all the possibilities. And so now that you are ready to apply, it's better to gather the required business loan documents the lender will want to see, right? So it's one of those things you have to think about. And one thing I want to say here is that you want to be in a situation where you're constantly switching things. You're constantly changing things. You're constantly improving things. So make sure you have your personal information, that you have your company information, so your LLC. So don't forget to also have your EIN. So LLC is kind of fine, but it's not just, it doesn't provide the whole picture. So you want to have your EIN. You want to have your company financials. This is important. Again, simply because you have bad credit doesn't mean that you are not making money. Maybe you might be making way more now than you were making 10 years ago, where you had quote unquote bad, where you had good credit. And so this is another thing you have to think about. So you also have to think about the legal documents that really pertain to the business itself. The business plan, this is so important. Business plans are really, really important. So boss, again, I want to remind you that we are speaking about how to get an LLC business loan for bad or fair credit. And so this is kind of important. And one thing I want to say also is that you have to understand, you have to constantly make sure that you are gathering your documents and you are getting the right documents. Like you need to have those documents ready, because if the lender asks you, it's not now that you should scramble to get the business loan, because you have done everything beforehand. And it really helps a lot. It really helps a lot to be organized. Now you want to apply for your LLC loan, right? So basically your LLC business loan, bad or fair credit, fast approval. So what you want to do here is that online lenders let you apply online and upload supporting documents to their online dashboard for review. And you'll almost likely you will actually receive a decision in just minutes, or as soon as you have one business lending support that's really worth it. Okay, and this is kind of important, but overall, this is how it works. And one thing I want to say here, one thing I want to say also is that it really depends on how you actually run your business. And a traditional lender could take a few days to a few weeks to hear back, especially if you have to visit a physical location to apply for the loan. The waiting period is often longer for SBA loans. So this is one of those things you have to really pay attention to. And so upon approval, the lender will actually prepare documents for you to review. And And really, yeah, so this is what it is. But at the end of the day, you got to be really clear about, what kind of documents you have to provide, right? Remember, you can apply online, you can apply at a branch, you can apply over the phone. Some lenders will dedicate a special platform for you to apply for a loan. This is totally possible. The bottom line I'm trying to make here is that it really depends. See, as I've said before, at LLCs are state affairs, so things happen at the state level. So you cannot just say, I'm in Tennessee and I'm going to apply for a lender who is operating in New York, unless that lender also has the authority to operate in Tennessee. You should not apply with that lender. Okay. So what happens if your LLC loan is denied? Well, if your application is denied, you may not be entirely out of stock. You want to start by reaching out to the lender to learn why your application was rejected and gain insight on what you can do to help others. One thing I want to say here, I want to talk to you now about the pros and cons of LLC loans. Okay, this is an important element to really think about. And one thing I want to say also is that let's first talk about the pros. So pros, you have flexible funds. So an LLC loan can be used for just about any business, and you can use it for any business needs, from everyday operations and inventory to expanding your business and purchasing inventory. You also have low interest rates. So if you have good credit, you have more options and can secure a business loan with competitive rates. What about the cons here? Well, the application process. Applying for an LLC business loan can take time. Research and gathering a lot of documents to support your application. And some lenders, like traditional banks, can take several days or weeks or longer to process your application. And you also have credit risk. So if you make late payments or fail to pay your loan back, you could hurt your credit score. You could hurt your credit history or default on the loan, which could lead to your business and assets being seized and liquidated. Okay, so those are risks here that you need to be aware of. And what are alternatives to LLC business loans? Because again, I know you were probably thinking about LLC business loans for bad or fair credit. That's fine, but what if you don't get them? What do you do then? Well, there are alternatives. Thank God there are alternatives. So you have, if an LLC doesn't meet, let's say, seem like the right fit for your business, consider those are business loan alternatives. Right. So you have business grants, for example. So this is one way you can actually survive in this economy, with prices going up like crazy, with consumers actually pulling back on their purchases. Everybody's just trying to save themselves. So if you're looking for an LLC business loan, you probably want to apply for business grants. The problem is it takes time to apply for business grants. And if you don't have the expertise, then you might need to actually hire someone. And if that person is not good, then you have a cycle of, you order stuff on Fiverr and you just realize, for example, that you don't get what you're getting. Like if you look for a business grant writer on Fiverr and the person that does the job and you don't like it, then you have to start over and over and over again. You can try personal loans. You can try business credit cards. You can try home equity loans. You can try loans from friends and family. If you're able to manage the funds properly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to actually grow your current LLC business loan. This is totally possible. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just quickly talking to you about how to get an LLC business loan, bad or fair credit, fast approval. Okay. And one thing I want to say here is that right off the bat, it's really important to understand that I spoke to you about the overview, and then I went through a few steps, and I gave you also the recap, the alternatives you need to think about, the pros and cons. Fantastic. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.